Welcome back to the Home of Common Sense, 23 minutes past 8. This is, of course, Talk, and it's Morning Glory all the way through until 10 o'clock. Julie Hartley-Brewer will give us her verdict on the Donald Trump inauguration yesterday, coming up then. Right now, we're going to talk to Lord Richard Dannatt, former head of the British Army and crossbench peer, of course. General the Lord Dannatt would be his official title. He's written a piece in The Sun today on page 12. As it's revealed, Britain spends £65 billion on health benefits, but just £54 billion on the military. It's obviously time to spend more money on our armed forces. Lord Richard, a very good morning to you.
Mike, good morning. Good to join you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. I've read the piece. It's fascinating timing, as you say, just as the President Trump is unveiled and inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States of America. We live in very dangerous times. This figure of how much we spend on health for health benefits versus the military came out more or less at the same time. He's calling for 5% of our GDP to be spent, which is approximately twice what we spend now.
Mike, you're right. And it's a funny old thing, but in that same report from the House of Lords Economic Affairs Committee, which came out yesterday, they go on to say that if the rise in health benefits as related to health-related issues continues at the same rate, by 2030, we'll be spending 100 million on these matters. Now, with just over 50 billion being spent on defence, by 2030, if we are able to control health-related benefits, then we could actually double our spending on defence to that 5% figure that Donald Trump has been talking about. And you know, that's what we were spending during the Cold War, and the Cold War never turned hot. It's not just a question of spending money on our military, it's actually the deterrent capability that we can achieve to protect this country and to protect Europe from a proven aggressor like Vladimir Putin.
And have you seen any evidence from this current government that they want to increase spending? They don't seem to like to spend money on anything that's not one of their pet projects at the moment.
Well, we are partway through a strategic defence review, which is looking at all the threats and the current capabilities of this country, and it will publish its report in due course. And George Robertson has got the chance, as a former Secretary of State for Defence, to be overseeing defence review. It's his second defence review. He oversaw the one in 97, 98 when Tony Blair came into government. And that was a good defence review, but it failed ultimately because the then Chancellor, Gordon Brown, didn't fully fund it. And the pips began to squeak, and we got ourselves into terrible trouble, taking too many peace dividends over the years since the end of the Cold War. So there is a chance to recognise the threats to our security, to recognise what we need to do to increase our military capability, to deter further aggression, and get it right. Let's just hope George Robertson gets it right the second time around.
And if we were to spend more money, would it be better spent on personnel? Would it be better spent on equipment? What would you spend it on?
We've got to spend it in the round. It's not just Army, Navy, Air Force. It's cyber, it's space, it's all those modern high-tech things, which actually, if you look at what's happened, yes, in Gaza to an extent, but much more so, look what's happened on the battlefield in Ukraine or above the battlefield in Ukraine. Military technology is moving on at a very, very rapid pace. And we've got to make sure that we stay in that race and stay ahead in that race. And more fundamentally, we have gifted a tremendous amount of our equipment, all our 32 AS-90 155mm self-propelled guns. We've given them to Ukraine, and we still haven't yet got the replacement systems. We've given most of our 155mm ammunition. And have we let contracts to replenish our stocks? No, we haven't to the extent that we need to properly. And then, of course, there is the issue of manpower. If, in some way in the future, there should be a negotiated settlement to the Ukraine war, and if Putin was to agree a recommendation that forces like our own should patrol a demilitarized zone, that would be hugely intensive on manpower. And frankly, we haven't got the manpower at the present moment. So it's equipment, it's modern equipment, it's ammunition, it's supplies, and it's manpower. We've got to deal with the underfunding of defence in the round.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Lord Richard Dannatt, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Former head of the British Army, now crossbench peer. Great piece in The Sun today about why we need to spend more on our defence.